In episode 2, all the employees take the bodies to a crematorium that is on location, so the bodies are disposed of right away. The remaining players, they're completely shook. As they're sitting there trying to process what the hell just happened, one of the workers comes in and he announces that there's only 201 players left in the game. After this announcement, you've got a lot of players begging for their lives. They don't want to be in the game. They just want to go. They promise to pay their debts. They put on the waterworks, all of that. The group of players and the workers go back and forth on how serious the matter is, with the workers reminding the players, hey, this is just a game, and those people broke the rules. That's why they're not here anymore. And you guys are going to win prize money. But at this point, the players don't really care about prize money. They care about staying alive. They just want to be let go. As the players continue to plead their cases, finally, the worker gets frustrated and just reminds them that in the second clause of the contract they signed, a player who refuses to play will be eliminated. And that's when Sang-woo reminds him that the third clause is the game can end if there's a majority vote. So they all agree, yeah, okay, we're going to vote. But before they do, the worker has one last trick in his pocket to try to keep everybody involved in the game. He shows them how much prize money they've won. Since there were 255 players eliminated, there's currently 25.5 billion won, or dollars, in the piggy bank. 100 million per player. And suddenly people start thinking, this game isn't that bad. The worker then opens it up to a vote. And it goes back and forth. But at the end, the people who want to eliminate the game end up winning out. And the people who want to play the game, well, they beg to stay in because they want that money. But that money is going to go to the victims' families. They're going to be compensated with the 25.5 billion. As the crowd is completely torn, the worker announces that they're not going to seal this door of opportunity just yet. He's going to give everybody one final chance. And if the majority wants to re-enter the game, then they'll be allowed to. He also makes some speech about how if they think that this is bad, it's not going to be any better when they return to their lives. And most of the players find that out the hard way. The players are gassed, they're tied up, and they're dropped off in random locations around the country. Each player is dropped off at a location with another player. Sang-woo is dropped off with the guy that actually saved Song's life. And he's in a bit of a predicament because where they dropped him off, he's nowhere near town, and he doesn't have a cell phone. So he has to follow Sang-woo to a convenience store so that he can charge his cell phone and he can use it. And when Sang-woo opens his phone, he's got a bunch of notifications from the police telling him that they need to talk to him. They're going to subpoena him, they're going to arrest him. And to the police, he was blowing them off, but in reality, he wasn't answering his phone because he was busy playing the game. Even though Sang-woo was obviously hard up for cash, he decides to help this guy out, lending him his cell phone and also giving him some money so he can get home. Once this guy does get home, he goes to his former employer looking for some cash that his former employer owes him, but his former employer doesn't really want to pay the money, even though he has it. It gets pretty ugly. The guy's hand gets stuck in a mechanism, and but anyway, the guy gets his money, and he returns home, and he gives it to his wife. As for Sang-woo, he didn't really know what he was going to do, but he knew he had to lay low. He told his mom that he was out of town on business, which became pretty awkward when the police showed up at her work looking for him. And it's really unfortunate because what his mom doesn't know is that Sang-woo had put up her place as collateral. And it's only a matter of time before her restaurant and her home and all of it is taken from her. He actually discusses this with Song. Not really by choice, Song kind of ran into him. And Song just can't really imagine that what that guy said back at the game was true about Sang-woo owing all this money. But Sang-woo reluctantly admits, no, it's all true. Yeah, I put on this facade as a successful businessman, but I'm anything but. After talking with Sang-woo, Song ends up going to the police. And he tells them the whole story. They were kidnapped. They were forced to play this game. There was money involved. People were murdered. But it's such a crazy story that the police do not buy it. Song gets so frustrated that he gives them the card that he called to get into the game. But when they call it, it's nobody associated with the game. It's just a random woman. And the police think he's crazy, so they kick him out. Song can't figure out exactly how this is possible. When he calls the number, Now it's disconnected, and he's really confused. But then he gets a phone call from the hospital. Turns out while he was gone, his mother had an issue. She got admitted to the hospital because she has horrible diabetes, and she's not been taking care of herself. The hospital wants to keep his mother there for treatment, but she starts stumbling out. When Song tries to stop her, she doesn't want to hear it because he's been gone for a few days, not keeping her in touch with what he's been up to. She feels like he doesn't care. She's not leaving, though, because she's hard-headed. She tells her son, I'm leaving because if I stay and they treat me, then who pays the rent? You used up all our money. We don't have any. I literally can't afford treatment. And Song knows that that is accurate. He wants to help his mother out, but there's only one place he can turn. It's his ex-wife's. And he doesn't want to go to her hat in hand, but he has to. He's got nowhere else to turn. And his ex-wife tells him, we don't have any money. We're not exactly flush with cash. This results in a little bit of an argument back and forth regarding the birth of their daughter and how Song missed it because one of his coworkers had to go to the hospital, but he ended up dying. The whole thing is messy, and it gets interrupted when his ex-wife's new husband walks through the door with not only Song's daughter, but also his son. It's a surprise to the husband to see the ex standing there. But Song realizes it's an uncomfortable situation, and he goes to leave. He made up a lie that he was there just to visit his daughter, but he's about to blow right past her, and then he remembers, oh yeah, I probably should say hi to her. Once Song does leave, the new husband asks his wife, what did he want? And his wife says he wanted money. So the guy goes and gives it to him. He chases him down in the parking lot and hands him the wad of cash that Song needs for his mother. And Song is really appreciative until the guy says, no, you don't understand. You don't have to pay me back. This is a one-time thing for you to go away. I want you to stop bothering my family. And Song gets really offended to the point where he punches this guy in the face. He throws the wad of cash down at him, yelling at him, but then he looks up and he notices that his daughter has been watching this entire exchange. And he's extremely embarrassed. That night, depressed, Song decides to just drink alone outside. But a familiar face walks up. It's the old man. It's number one. He can't believe he's running into Song like this on the street, and the two start chit-chatting, drinking together. And that's when the old man reveals he's decided to go back in the game. Because as he tells Song, what they said in there is accurate. It's no better out here. And I've got this brain tumor anyway. I'm going to die, so I might as well try to win this money to pass it on to my family. But this old man isn't the only person that's thinking like that. In fact, a lot of them are. The thief has a brother to take care of. She also paid to get her parents smuggled out of a dangerous environment, and she got screwed out of that money. So she also needs money. The guy she was fighting with in the game, well, he's got creditors after him from a casino that are hunting him down, looking to recoup some organs. Yeah, a lot of people are going back to the game. And now it's got Song thinking about going back to the game. As he heads home to his apartment, he's a little surprised because there's somebody there waiting for him. And it's a police officer. When Song had made his plea to the police and no one believed him, this guy was walking in. And then he just kind of thought that Song was crazy too. But then he went to his brother's apartment because his brother had been missing. He was looking for clues as to what happened to him, and that's when he saw a very similar card. The same one that Song brought into the police station. And he got curious. So he went back, he got Song's information, and he tracked him down. And he starts begging Song to help him out. But all that Song will say is, I made that whole story up. And the cop doesn't believe him. But Song is not in the mood to help anybody out. When he does get to his front door, there's the card waiting for him to see if he wants to go back into the game. And like everybody else, he does. He calls the number, and one by one, they all get picked up. One by one, they all get gassed, and they all get taken back to the facility. There's one person, though, who didn't get gassed. It's the thief. She wants to find out where she's going. So while the gas was being administered, she just held her breath. And she's well aware of what's going on. But there's also another person that's aware of what's going on. It's the cop. He didn't believe that Song had just made up this story. He followed him. He saw him get picked up by the van, and he's following it.
Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry, it'll be up in a day or two.